96.9 The Eagle, Jacksonville's classic hits. What is up, guys? We are very lucky today because we are joined by an icon of not just movies and TVs, but one of the greatest comedians of all time, Mr. Tim Allen. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Wow. That was good. I was waiting for you to say, and it's George Carlin. Wait, it came back from the beyond.
That would be awesome. That would be
it wouldn't.
That'd be
one
a dream.
Of my favorites.
Is he one of your favorites?
I have a lot of favorites. The guys that when I watched Carson when I was a kid, and I love Don Rickles a lot. You know, a lot of the old comedians. Every now and then, Norm Crosby I thought was really weird because he always would make up words, and I thought he was funny. And then I saw Richard Pryor live in Detroit, where I grew up, and it was life-changing how funny that guy was and how different of a human being he was. And then I started reading about Lenny Bruce and changed my perspective on words and their meaning. Of course, these days it's absolutely flip-flop from my mother's words. Sticks and stones will break our bones, but names will never hurt us. And now I grew up like that with 9. You know, being bullied by my older 2 brothers who whacked me around so much,
sure.
With names especially. And these days, now names, you can't say certain things. It's the weirdest time, especially for a comedian like me. That's a long way to go, but there you go.
No, I agree. It is very funny. You got to wonder what a guy like a George Carlin or a Don Rickles would think of these delicate times that we live in, where words. I just read the guy from the Goldbergs. Was asked to leave the show.
Jeff Garlin, yeah.
Jeff Garlin, because of saying a word, and it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of unbelievable. It's
actually disturbing on a fundamental level. It's gotten to the point where literally there's a deep part of me that just F it, bring it on. If you want to cancel me, go ahead. I mean, I can't take this living in fear. I was telling all my family because I said between this effing virus has caused tragedy in my family, and then on the other hand, there's hundreds of thousands of people that either had it, didn't know they had it. It's the weirdest stuff that you can't make. And like one of my kids, I'd make jokes about it, and the other part of the family goes, "You can't make jokes about it. So many people have died." I go, "I get it," and I said, I don't want to put it in the same perspective because it's not, and yet it is to me. They were making jokes during World War II. They had to have – eventually you got to move on somehow.
Well, and I think that laughter – it seems like laughter has always been the way that you can isolate things and help yourself heal from them. And we seem to have forgotten that.
I cannot agree more. I said, I'm not making fun of death and destruction. I'm making fun at the other side of fear. Fear creates all this anxiety, and it doesn't accomplish anything. I've always wondered about the healthcare workers, the firemen, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force that goes towards danger. What type of humans are they that go towards danger? Literally, even as small the people that were singing on the boats when they're sinking, the ballet and art people that are right in the middle of horror that just continue, and I don't mean to make light of it. The show goes on.
Right.
Nobody makes it out of this alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I said the one bright, weird thing about humans is that whatever problems we cause, we can create solutions to them. Sitting still and being scared is not a solution. It's causing its own problems. And I said at one point, the last couple big concerts we've done, I was shocked at how refreshed the audience was to not laugh at this incident, to laugh at their response to this incident. You can only control that. You can't control the incident or the tragedy that it causes. You can control only your response to all of it. And I said, sometimes people just want to get out there and laugh a little bit, then deal with their problems.
I think that it's like the thing is with the vocal minority is the one causing the word policing and the attack on comedy and the attack on comic thought. You go to a show, you talk like your best friends, right? Your best friends are the people that are the most vicious when they insult you.
Yes.
and that's like, if we could be that as a society and just make jokes at each other's expense and laugh at it, and maybe that helps us understand the other's perspective better.
It reminds me of? It totally reminds me of my high school. There's a few malcontents that caused all the problems.
Yes.
It is. We are now at high school, and there's a substitute teacher in the class, and the principal's on a hiatus. Everybody's doing. Yeah, we get to eat Tootsie Rolls and drink Coca-Cola in class, and everybody looking around waiting for the teacher to go. That's not right, and there's no teacher.
Right. Yeah.
So everybody just does what they want. There's no information. I told my young kid, as well as two people here at the staff, just finished a big show for History Channel, and now we're setting up a new, coming off a new projects. And every time I tell our writers, I said, "Where did you hear that?" Well, it was on this, and then I go, "Just go one step deeper than when you look."
Yes.
And there's no detectives anymore. There's no reporters anymore. No one flushes out. Where did you hear that? Oh, I heard it. Oh, God, look at where I heard that. Yeah. Not that you can't read. You got to triangulate your sources, and you got to figure out who said that and why would they say that. And you know what? It gets dark. And I said the only people that I really appreciate now are the comics that I've been on the road with for years, that what we do, the men and women that do comedy, we look at the source of the material, because the only way we make a joke is there's got to be a truth in it somewhere.
Right.
And then we make light of that. And the funny thing is, in all of our, my best, I got this from Otto and George, actually paid for it to other comics out there, I exaggerate to clarify. And that's what I do. I exaggerate to clarify, amplify an actual situation that I amplified so you can see the fun in it. And they said, this has been, just today we were talking about going back on the road, and I love it. I get up there and I go, it's such a release for me to laugh out loud. And I love being able to do what Pryor did to me. I laughed so freaking hard, I almost felt ill. Like I put my hand up actually in the audience, like as though he would see, oh, look, some light-colored guy up there is having a little trouble with this. Let me just pause for a minute so you can catch your breath.
Right.
And I love, there's my concert is built on, I've been doing this for 30 years, Vegas and on the road, and I want to be close if I can to what Pryor's pace was. So you release and have a great time. And literally it's not provocative stuff. I don't like this. It's not for kids, because as my grandma says, boy, you swear a lot.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen you swear, so I'm actually looking forward to that.
I'm the weirdest guy. I never was. I've had a very checkered past, and I'm not a prude in anywhere with language. Just never have been. And yet everything I've ever done has been family oriented. Between Santa Claus, Buzz Lightyear, all these movies, in Home Improvement, Last Man Standing, it's like a family show, and I'm anything but on stage. I'm like that weird uncle, that does just will not stop talking like a sailor, as my mom used to say. I don't know why sailors. Yeah, you talk like a sailor. Why are sailors the stopgap for bad language? I don't know.
I think it's the bell bottoms. So you are going to be at the Moran Theater here in Jacksonville on January 8th.
Yes, sir.
This is an unbelievable theater here in town. You're going to love it. Like you said, you were in Santa Claus. You were Santa Claus. You did 3 of those, right?
Yes.
You're Buzz Lightyear, Tim Taylor, and Mike Baxter. Which one of those guys are you more alike?
Oh, God. It's almost been an evolution. I certainly was when I was new to Los Angeles, got off the road as a comedian, sold my whole act, which is on Showtime, it's Men or Pigs, is the first 5 episodes of Home Improvement.
Sure.
And I was that guy at that time. Innocent was bliss. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Sure.
It was great to get off the road. That's all I was thinking about. There's moments I wish I was Mike Baxter, the way he has 3 daughters. I have 2. The way he handles things. In TV world, you get to resolve problems in 28 minutes.
Right.
But I really wished that I had, and I try to be that. I have a production company, and I've had employees for a long time in an auto shop that I have downstairs that we do hot rods, and upstairs it's production. I'm not as cool as Mike Baxter about stuff, and I wish I was as smart as Mike Baxter on his vlogs. But that's Kevin Hench, the series of writers that were very mystical, spiritual, political animals that mixed both liberal and conservative. Right, the blogs. Some of those vlogs literally brought my heart to tears. That we were talking about the true spirit of man, and did it in a funny way. Every now and then, those vlogs, I wish that I was at Mike Baxter. I point towards that guy.
I love the show, and I think it's amazing that you were able to get two successful sitcoms, and like you've done more in a lifetime than most comics can dream. You know what I mean? Like that seems like back in the 80s, kind of early 90s. That's what they would do is they would find a good stand-up like you and Roseanne and Brett Butler, and they would take that on-stage persona and turn it into a sitcom.
Yeah, you know what? When I was incarcerated, which I was for a time, I read. I didn't want to make that mistake again, so I rebooted my life and started setting goals and achieving those goals, which is a magic that anybody can do. Believe me, having bottomed out several times, you just set goals. Don't wish, don't hope. Focus is the different word, and it's a different attitude. And I read Bob Hope's biography. Not totally my comic type of guy. I thought he's a funny guy. No, I met him. I loved some of the stuff he was in. However, how he focused, and he was live comedy, then vaudeville, then radio, then television, then movies, then back to live again. And the way he formulated his focus, pretty amazing guy. And then I read that. I read biographies of people that are unlike you and like you, and you'll find steps that they took in successful lives that you go, wow, I can do that. I mean, I can't. Obviously, there's a couple people of different races that I've read their stories from both Asian descent, African descent, Russian descent. I can't be them, and I don't know their tribal customs, but personality, human things about focus and honesty and generosity and self-esteem, which is behavior when no one's looking. You can do these things, or I focused on these things when I was moving my way up. And I said, Hope was one of those guys that did a lot of things. And he goes, well, got to make this move from live to vaudeville, which means you had to do the same show every night. And it's like being on the road. Then vaudeville to radio. It's a whole different set. And that guy just focused on what are the steps I have to take to express myself in this new generation. And I said, it is possible. And I said, I got to shut up. I don't even look at the success until you mention it. And I go, yeah, that's very grateful that I've had the opportunity and the people around me. Picking right people, boy. Getting that team to be able to do 2 sitcoms, amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and not just 2 I'm like iconic characters. You know, Tim Taylor, the dad we all wanted. You know what I mean? Like, like really, I would have taken any dad at that point. And but you know, the one that we wanted was him. And you know, this show now, like you said, like it is a treat to be able to solve your problems in an episode. Obviously,
hell yes.
Real life's not like that, but you know, it's weird that you've become such an icon, and like your voice is like instantly recognizable. Like as soon as I heard you on the phone, I was like, Jesus, that's Tim Allen. So, and I got to tell you, this is a weird thing, and I hope it doesn't scare you, but during quarantine, for some reason, I don't know why, this has never happened to me before, but I could not sleep unless I was playing Wild Hogs on my iPad next to my bed.
Oh, good. And I said random movie moments in that. There's so many moments in that movie, along with another one of my personal favorites was the Galaxy Quest, is the relationships I made in Wild Hogs. All those men and I, still buddies. The experience itself had some holes in it because I'm a script guy. Loved what we're doing. We're circling about doing that again. I shouldn't even say this because I haven't really spoken to the other guys. We talked about it earlier, and then situations have changed for each one of the schedules, but now it's kind of open, and it's a pretty funny idea because I love riding motorcycles. I love that whole idea. I loved where we shot that thing, and I really like the relationships that we developed by those friends.
And the relationships was so fun because you guys were all so different. Yeah. And brought, like, you know, I just picture all the different audience people that each one of you guys brings into that thing. And another thing I wanted to give you kudos on, one of my favorite, most underrated movies of all time, Red Belt.
God, thanks for that. Yeah, that was a David Mamet chance. He called me in and asked me to do that. And very often for comedians, at least for me, if there's not being funny in a movie, I don't feel like I'm really contributing anything on a deep level because it's not a funny part. And it's literally the best reviews I've ever had, and I did nothing except play a very serious, flawed, guy in that. And believe me, that was, for me, I'm constantly doing stuff. That's it. They go, Tim, that was good. I go, yeah, but no. I had no sense of humor, and that's really what my contribution to entertainment's always in the comedy realm. Being serious, I've been around some great actors, and I've sucked a lot of information out of them. I just watch and listen. Comedy is an act, of course it is, but it comes naturally to a guy like me. But serious acting, really got to shut up and listen and absorb. And I didn't go. Mostly my training in college was improv or television. In that genre, I did a lot of some theater. It wasn't actually about acting. I was more in production. I love light, sound, and all that stuff. That said, I appreciate you. It's a very interesting movie, but what isn't that David Mamet wrote?
It was so. There, you said you weren't funny. No, there was nothing funny in that movie.
Nothing funny about that movie.
Yeah, it was. But it was like I thought the themes were important, and I mean, Tim, you were so great in that. Like there was like. I don't know if you meant to play the stuff underneath that I could see, but I was blown away by you in that movie. And, I'm a fan. I've been a fan my whole life because,
thanks.
I watched you growing up and on the show and in the movies. You're freaking Buzz Lightyear. You know what I mean? Like that's so to see you in that role and like just imagine like the character's name was Chet, I believe, right? Chet.
Yeah. Got it. So finally, remember, I just remember how difficult it was to follow. Mamet is, and I'm serious, and I respect it. I'm a very loose. I get scripts. I'm very good with script, and then I will manipulate in. Too much to the dismay of really good writers. A little bit, I'll take great leverage, and I'll start changing the dialogue just a little bit to make it mine. And a lot of writers don't like that. And I've had, where people go, no, you read it as written. And sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. With David Mamet, you listen. And I'd come in, it was there, and he goes, no, it was thee. No, it was that specific. And I went, wow, okay, Mr. Special. And it comes out in the product. He uses the word iconic, and I go, I have no idea what you just said, but I will listen. It's good.
And you mentioned Galaxy Quest, which is like such a cult classic that they have their own show celebrating it, and they have Galaxy Quest cons and stuff like that. I mean, like this is a storied career, but your roots are in stand-up, what you're doing here. You said you wanted to come off the road. Once you got off the road, was there a feeling of wow, I kind of want to go back on the road?
It never stopped. I said because if I'm blowing my own horn, I'm a funny guy off stage. I'm one of these, won't just shut up. Even with my family, going, my youngest is getting to be a real smart ass. She goes, Dad, that didn't land. That she'll just at dinner, I'll throw something. She goes, whoa, boy, that didn't land. And I go, listen, kid, you got to process this stuff. They're not all gems off you got to work them up a little bit. She goes, well, work that one a bit harder. And once I got off the road, it was just a relief to get off the road. And then it was a different discipline doing home improvement, and really a different discipline. I started writing books, and then I was doing movies. In between, I'd lose. It's like you forgot the muscle needs to be in it. So it took about 6 months to even get back to do promotional events or events for big charities just to show up. It took almost 8, 9 months in between home improvement. Like the first or second year of Last Man Standing, I was back on. I wanted to get back into Vegas, and it was a much bigger struggle than I thought. I had to rewrite the act because some of the old favorites, if you will, felt very like I was doing a bit about my own bits. It didn't feel organic. So it took almost a year. And then I would back up for about 4 years, and then this frickin' virus hit, and everybody was down for 18 months at least. And it's still in that, are we back? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know where. And I just wanted to push through it. And I'm so thankful that Jacksonville opened up. We've opened up about 20 gigs, even in the middle of this. Everybody's taking care, doing their thing. And I just so grateful that we're pushing through this. And I said, selling out concerts again. And I hope musicians are the same way. And for us comics back on the road, it's a big deal for me to be able to do this again. And I said, it's I tell my kids and tell everybody staff here, it's not easy for all of us. We're all going through this crap together.
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned book writing. You had the #1 book, the #1 show, and the #1 movie in the country all at the same time.
And this is the only funny part about this is no one knew it except my one younger brother. He goes, "That's kind of weird." And I said, "You know what's kind of weird is that a publicist and my huge William Morris at the time, agencies, television, promotion, everybody that's huge didn't put that together." My brother he just sent me a little note with the 3. I went, Why are you telling me this?
Why are these people that are paying 7% telling me?
He said, "This is why are the people that are taking 7%?" It was. I thought he had stretched the dates, and no, it was on a Monday, and I've got a plaque somewhere here in my office that he sent me. He said it's very hard, and I think the director Barry Sonnenfeld, who I did Big Trouble with, he came up, and I was having coffee somewhere, and he didn't come up and say hi because he said, "God, that he was just reading that," and he mentioned that to me doing the movie that it was you sit and think about that for a minute. That's going to be hard to. It's like one of the sports thing, the longest pass and the shortest game at the darkest time or something. 3 different things that are very difficult to accomplish. And it went by for a couple of weeks, and then I went, "Did that really happen?" And then Disney and ABC and everybody said, "Oh yeah," and I said, "Well, you're now remembering because I mentioned it."
Right. Thanks for the update, guys.
Thanks for the update, guys. And what I love about my family, and really, I'm okay with it with me, is I didn't make it a big deal. Now I look back and I said, "Yeah, that's kind of a nice plaque to have on the wall that you did that."
Well, nobody's ever going to do that again. I mean, that's never going to happen again, just because the way TV's set up now, #1. #2, I mean, that's just to have a #1 selling book is not easy. To have the #1 show and the #1 movie, it's just, I mean, it's
on the same day, which was weird. It was a Monday, some type. Yeah, believe me, I the way TV is now, live sitcoms like I've been doing, I love them. I still love them. I still have in the back of my mind set up for 3. I feel like a Tom Brady, just because I love the format of a live studio. It's like a theater combined with stand-up, combined with movies. You get cameras, you got live people, and you got actors that have to go and now, and then the crowd listens. There's nothing like, for the actors anyway, there's nothing like live 5-camera TV sitcoms. I don't know if the new generation that's on YouTube cares about that, because that's how TV started, and I'm not sure that TV isn't done with that. However, I remember being from Detroit that I remember the last Eldorado convertible. Convertibles are done. We're no longer making convertibles. I remember that. It was 69 or maybe 71. The last Eldorado convertible rolled off the assembly line because we're done making convertibles because nobody wants them anymore. And that was, okay, maybe that was a little premature.
A little bit, yeah. I think there's always going to be room for funny,
I said, and we had this chat yesterday with some network people, that is that format dead, where you hear the laughter, and it always seemed cheesy at the time, and now when you watch it on streaming, comedies like Ted Lasso are very funny. You don't need the laughter. It's not really that you ever needed the laughter. It's more an environmental sound. There's something about live sitcoms that are so cheesy that they're wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I can't decide. And a couple times I directed Last Man Standing and Home Improvement, where I show the audience. I'd cut to the audience laughing, and there's something way too much about that. We never use that shot. That's too much. And I said, I'm just dancing around the idea of making another sitcom. I wonder what it'd be like to, do if you will, the Deadpool moment, where you really understand that this is it's like a play every night we're doing this. And the best you can understand is you're getting so much out of these performers because you're doing it live, and it's not like streaming. I call it network television fresh produce. Anything on network TV, obviously sports and news and the game shows and the reality shows, is been done within the last 6 weeks. Streaming, who knows when that was done.
Right.
That's like processed food to me, and in a good way. I just said that network TV still is fresh produce. It was done recently.
Well, see, there's good and bads to that, though. You got with the streaming, you get a lot of content, but with a lot of content, only a small percentage of it is good. You know
There
what I
you
mean?
go.
With network, you know, there's limited space, so you know that somebody's up there quality controlling everything.
Everything. And I said the other thing is, in a network TV, there's, in a bad way to us when we started, there's censorship. You can't show, animal husbandry or something. I mean, you just can't show on the stuff on Game of Thrones. You're going, good God, I'm not sure I should be seeing this.
Yeah,
stuff.
no, definitely.
Whew, what was that about?
A lot of times I covered my eyes.
Me too. I said, "Is that a goat?" I'd watch stuff and I go, "Good Lord!"
You know, Tim, maybe that's your next evolution. Is the fourth wall in the process of making the show? You know,
maybe. I said, I don't know. I said we had a little Christmas lunch with some people, and I started throwing out things that were still interesting me. And I loved Home Improvement because it was contracting, and I loved Last Man Standing because I used to work in a sports store, fishing, hunting, and camping, and I loved that experience. The only thing I haven't done that I've really loved is the car business. Making hot rods, and maybe there's some moment in hot rod building that also is a family, and who knows? My little mind is like searching for stuff. Basically, just entertain. That's all it's about.
What about so real quick? I know I've kept you on the phone a long time, but I'm a huge fan, so I love talking to you. But so what is the difference between a comedy crowd's laughter and an in-studio audience's laughter? Does one have more weight to it? Is one more satisfying for you?
Definitely live. There's nothing like it because you don't know what's coming. On the TV show, generally they see the same scene. Even on show night, they're going to see the scene maybe twice. In a worst 3 times. Generally, by the time we show the live audience, it's the first time they've seen it. There is stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. Even that said, my sitcoms, we rehearse and shoot it all day the first 2 days. So by the show night, it's as close to continuous as possible. I'm telling you, with the shortest show we had at Home Improvement and Last Man Standing, instead of 4 hours in there, you're in there 2 hours. It's for a 30-minute sitcom. That said, you get into the stand-up, it is live. You're going to see it once. It's all about surprise. I frickin' love it. What Pryor did and the guys that I used to adore watching, especially live, is there's movement. It's like a symphony, and I love. Here's the notes. Here comes the bass bassoon, boom, 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 pause. And if you think that's good, and I set it up so that I want a belly laugh, belly laugh, belly laugh, belly laugh, because I want to feel the way I felt when Pryor had us crying. He was so funny. And luckily I've been able to do this, and I will push my heart out in Jacksonville to do that to an audience. And I said, so far it's been working for me on the road since it's about 30 years. God, it's weird to even say that.
Well, I mean, we all appreciate you, man. And like you said, Saturday, January 8th, perfect night to go out to the Moran Theater and see a comedy legend do his thing. Thank you so much, Tim, for spending this much time with us and just talking to us. It's been so great to have you on.
Thank you, Tank.
Have a great one, man.
All right.